Hello, class. Thank you for joining me. Today's shout out goes to Razak. We're going to read the chapter, well, half of the chapter called Reindeer Games, which starts on page 135. It's one of my favorites. And here we go. I almost didn't try out for the Reardon basketball team. I just figured I wasn't going to be good enough to make even the C squad. And I didn't want to get cut from the team. I didn't think I could live through that humiliation. But my dad changed my mind. "Do you know about the first time I met your mother?" he asked. "You're both from the res," I said, "so it was on the res. Big duh. But I only moved to this res when I was 5 years old." So your mother is 8 years older than me. And there's a partridge in the pear tree. Get to the point, Dad. Your mother was 13 and I was 5 when we first met. And guess how we first met? How? She helped me get a drink from a water fountain. "Well, that just seems sort of gross," I said. "I was tiny," Dad said, "and she boosted me up so I could get a drink. And imagine, all these years later, and we're married and have 2 kids. What does this have to do with basketball?" "You have to dream big to get big." "That's pretty dang optimistic for you, Dad." "Well, your mother helped me get a drink from the water fountain last night, if you know what I mean." And all I could say to my father was, "Ew." That's one more thing people don't know about Indians. We love to talk dirty. Anyway, I signed up for basketball. On the first day of practice, I stepped onto the court and felt short, skinny, and slow. All of the white boys were good. Some were great. I mean, there were some guys who were 6'6" and 6'7". Roger the Giant was strong and fast and could dunk. I tried to stay out of the way. I figured I'd die if he ran me over. But he just smiled all the time, played hard, and slapped me hard on the back. We all shot basketballs for a while, and then Coach stepped onto the court. 40 kids immediately stopped bouncing and shooting and talking. We were silent. Snap. Just like that. "I want to thank you all for coming out today," Coach said. Before we turn the page, we can check out the picture of Coach there. It's pretty short. It says maybe 5 foot. He's saying, listen up. He has huge lips. He has skull in his cheek, which is chewing tobacco. There's stains of indeterminate origin. That means you can't tell where they're from. On his shirt, maybe ketchup, barbecue sauce, antifreeze. He has hairless old man legs and the same shorts regardless of the weather. Oh, and very skinny, 2% body fat. Now we'll turn the page. "There are 40 of you, but we only have room for 12 on the varsity and 12 on the junior varsity." I knew I wouldn't make those teams. I was C squad material for sure. "In other years, we've also had a 12-man C squad," Coach said. "But we don't have the budget for it this year. That means I'm going to have to cut 16 players today." 20 boys puffed up their chests. They knew they were good enough to make either the varsity or the junior varsity. The other 20 shook their heads. We knew we were cuttable. "I really hate to do this," Coach said. "If it were up to me, I'd keep everybody. But it's not up to me. So we're just going to have to do our best here, okay? You play with dignity and respect, and I'll treat you with dignity and respect, no matter what happens, okay?" We all agreed to that. "Okay, let's get started," Coach said. The first drill was a marathon. Well, not exactly a marathon. We had to run 100 laps around the gym. So 40 of us ran, and 36 of us finished. After 50 laps, one guy quit. And since quitting is contagious, 3 other boys caught the disease and walked off the court too. There you can see the little virus, the "I'm out of here" virus. "I'm out of here." No can do, it says. I didn't understand. Why would you try out for the basketball team if you didn't want to run? I didn't mind. After all, that meant only 12 more guys had to be cut. I only had to be better than 12 other guys. Well, We were good. We were good and tired after that run. And then coach immediately had us playing full court one on one. That's right, full court one on one. That was torture. Coach didn't break it down by position, so quick guards had to guard power forwards and vice versa. Seniors had to guard freshmen and vice versa. All stars had to guard losers like me and vice versa. Coach threw me the ball and said, "Go." So I turned and dribbled straight down the court. A mistake. Roger easily poked the ball away and raced down toward his basket. Ashamed, I was frozen. "What are you waiting for?" Coach asked me. "Play some D." Awake, I ran after Roger, but he dunked it before I was even close. "Go again," Coach said. This time, Roger tried to dribble down the court, and I played defense. I crouched down low, spread my arms and legs high and wide, and gritted my teeth. And then Roger ran me over, just sent me sprawling. He raced down and dunked it again while I lay still on the floor. Coach walked over and looked down at me. "What's your name, kid?" he asked. "Arnold," I said. "You're from the reservation?" "Yes." "Did you play basketball up there?" "Yes, for the 8th grade team." Coach studied my face. "I remember you," he said. "You were a good shooter." "Yeah," I said. Coach studied my face some more, as if he were searching for something. "Roger's a big kid," he said. "He's huge," I said. "You want to take him on again, or do you need a break?" 90% of me wanted to take the break, but I knew if I took that break, I would never make the team. "I'll take him on again," I said. Coach smiled. "All right, Roger," he said. "Line up again." I stood up again. Coach threw me the ball, and Roger came for me. He screamed and laughed like a crazy man. He was having a great time, and he was trying to intimidate me. He did intimidate me. I dribbled with my right hand toward Roger, knowing that he was going to try to steal the ball. If he stayed in front of me and reached for the ball with his left hand, then there was no way I could get past him. He was too big and strong, too immovable. But he reached for the ball with his right hand, and that put him a little off balance. So I dribbled around him, did a 360, and raced down the court. He was right behind me. I thought I could outrun him, but he caught up to me and just blasted me. Just me skidding across the floor again. The ball went bouncing into the stands. I should have stayed down, but I didn't. Instead, I jumped up, ran into the stands, grabbed the loose ball, and raced toward Roger, standing beneath the basket. I didn't even dribble. I just ran like a fullback. Roger crouched, ready to tackle me like he was a middle linebacker. He screamed. I screamed. And then I stopped short, about 15 feet from the hoop, and made a pretty little jump shot. Everybody in the gym yelled and clapped and stomped their feet. Roger was mad at first, but then he smiled, grabbed the ball, and dribbled toward his hoop. He spun left, right, but I stayed with him. He bumped me, pushed me, elbowed me, but I stayed with him. He went up for a layup, and I followed him. But I'd learned there are no fouls called in full court one-on-one. So I grabbed the loose ball and raced for my end again. But Coach blew the whistle. All right, Arnold, Roger, Coach said. That's good. Next two. I took my place at the back of the line, and Roger stood next to me. Good job, he said, and offered his fist. I bumped his fist with mine. I was a warrior. There you can see the drawing at the top of page 142. That's when I knew I was going to make the team. Heck, I ended up on varsity as a freshman. Coach said I was the best shooter who'd ever played for him, and I was going to be his secret weapon. I was going to be his weapon of mass destruction. Coach sure loved those military metaphors. 2 weeks later, we traveled up the road for our first game of the season, and our first game was against Welpinett High School. Yep, it was like something out of Shakespeare. We're going to stop there and next time hear about what happens when his team plays his old high school's team.